Welcome to Film, where I break down films in the way anyone can enjoy. Whether you're new to movies or a seasoned fan, you're in the right place. In this video, we will be talking about my likes and dislikes of the movie We Live in Time, that is directed by John Crowley, written by Nick Payne, and starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh as the characters Tobias and Almut. Now, I just want to apologize if I got Florence Pugh's character's name wrong. I don't know if it's Almut or Almut, but let's get into it. Now, just to try to give you all a quick rundown of how this movie worked, this movie was shot in a way that was like Memento and Challengers, if you haven't seen that yet. But you're literally going through the time they have spent together in different moments. And when the movie first started, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really feel it. I wasn't really vibing with it yet when they were doing this. But later on, when you start to understand how they're doing it, I kind of I was following the story. Like, I think that was a really cool thing that they did. But anywho, you're just going through different time zones of them by themselves, not yet together, of when they're together going through their problems, and when they get a little bit more serious and they have a child together. And I think it was a cool experience. I feel like this was a movie to just watch and experience how their relationship was going. And I admire that, because in a lot of movies, I don't feel like they do this type of thing really well. Sometimes, like if you all have seen the latest episode of Agatha All Along with the Lilith episode, it was shot like that. It was shot like that. I think that was season 1, episode 6, I believe. But I think that was a good example of doing it really well. I think I almost want to say Attack on Titan, but anyways, you're following Tobias and Almut in their lives, and I believe he was a part of a company that deals with stocks, I believe, and she is a professional chef, and they both end up together. And I'm not gonna lie, I did show up just a little bit, just a teensy weensy little bit late, and I was shook because usually movies don't start for another 10 or 15 minutes when you walk in. I got there on time, kinda, when it started, waited in line, got in the theater, and I am at the part where she is in the bathtub talking with him, and then it jumps from that point to them talking in the, I want to say, doctor's office, when I believe she finds out she has cancer. So then they continue on with this scene, and it pretty much ends with her saying she doesn't want to live like as a negative person. She wants to live life to the fullest. And this is when you watch the rest of the movie, and it kind of starts with it. Well, this is when the flashing back and forth to different times starts. But I like the way they did it, and even though it was rough at the start, I still feel like it was good. Now, the first dislike I want to mention, I did not like the first sex scene that was shown on the screen. Now, it wasn't like it was shot bad. It was just like it felt a little awkward from start to finish, and it felt like super fast, and then it was just weird at the start. I didn't vibe with it. I felt like it didn't really show their chemistry too well. But there were some more scenes later on that kind of helped with that, but it just didn't. It felt rushed, but it didn't really capture the whole essence of the movie. So I think it's not really a big hit on the movie, but it was a weird sex scene. Now for my next dislike, even though I did like the way the story was told later on, I'm not really too much of, I'm a straightforward story type of guy. Like, I don't mind when they jump, like for example in the movie Holes, when you're going through Shia LaBeouf's character's story, and then it flashes to Zero's story, and then it flashes to a past scene. But I like that movie because at the end, it all gathered together. Like, you got pieces here, pieces here, and then you were able to put it together at the end. So when it came to this, like, I'm okay if it leads up to something, which is what this movie did. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of times when stories don't do a good job when they're jumping back and forth, And sometimes it doesn't even make sense when they're doing it. To me, it doesn't make sense, but this one it did. And I feel like the whole point was to just watch how their lives were when they were living in time. I like that little wordplay right there. I'm just saying, but yeah, it's tough for me sometimes to get into movies like this, but I still liked it. But at the same time, it was a little knock on me. The last thing I wanted to talk about on my dislikes list was I kind of wish there was a deeper meaning and resolution to Tobias finding out that Almit couldn't make it to the wedding because of the cooking competition. Now I'll talk about it more later on, but I did think that I feel like the way that this whole situation ended between them on that part was a little weird to me. I feel like there should have been a bigger reaction because I understand that he went over and threw the invitations away for the wedding and cried, and that was a big scene, but I feel like there should have been more going into it. I feel like it should have affected both of them more. Like after that, they just went to the cooking competition, called it a day, and it seemed like everything was good. Like, and even during that scene, I was thinking, I was thinking maybe they cut something out, and I feel like it was for a reason because if you watch it, Tobias is crying then and there, looking like he just got destroyed, like his life was over or something like that. It seemed like an event like that, and so going from that to the cooking competition and making it seem like he was totally fine, totally okay. It just seemed weird to me because I feel like there'd be more resentment or something like that. But then again, this was towards the end of the movie, and you could be saying like it was just like a bygone be bygones type thing. But I don't know. I feel like there should have been more of a hit to us, like, or to me, like that this is serious. Like it just felt like, oh, we're gonna throw this away, go to the cooking competition, and then call it a day. But yeah, that's just how I felt on that. But I don't know. I wish there was more of a deeper meaning into that scene. Like I feel like it was almost pivotal to be honest. I feel like it could reshape their relationship, but I don't know. That was one thing I really did not like at that point. Now, let's get into my likes. I know we've been talking about a lot of dislikes or a couple of them, but I just want to let you all know I did like this movie. I like the way, well, to start it off, I love the chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. Like, I loved it. It seemed like, and I know this may be a weird take. I know this might, because when Andrew Garfield was playing Peter Parker / Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, there was already a woman who was a part of Divergent casted as Mary Jane. I forgot her name. I apologize. But if there were to be the Amazing Spider-Man 3 and they were to go the Mary Jane route, I would love to see Florence Pugh play Mary Jane because that's how like their chemistry was on that level with me. Like I understand Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, their chemistry is Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker was insane. Like I love their relationship to this day. But the way Andrew and Florence were in it, like together in this movie, I would love to see this again. I would love to see like another movie with both of them in it, like either being best friends or just being together. I just need to see something, and that's the only other thing I can think of that I feel like could reach that level because it was good. Like if you guys watch this movie, you'll see it. Trust me. But I really love that. I think they did a good job letting us believe or even just see how how together they are as a couple. And that was awesome. Loki almost made me jealous if I'm being for real. One other thing I really liked in this movie was that every time you were going to a different environment or different time of event in the movie, a lot of the like shots that they took were wide in a way where it seemed like they wanted us to see exactly where they are, and they wanted to get the best shot they could possibly show. Like it was wide shots a lot of times. It was just a lot of wide shots of the apartment building they were in, the house they were visiting, or just anywhere, even walking on the street, even being around in cars. Like it was just a lot of wide shots showing us like where they were. And I thought that was really nice because I could really, in my own perspective, I could really imagine how the environment was in the background. Like I could understand where they were, I can understand how things were. And I thought that was really nice. I thought it helped with the storytelling for me, in my opinion. It helped me understand better. Now, another one of my likes that I really wanted to point out was earlier I did complain about the first sex scene, but then later on, the rest of the movies and the rest of the sex scenes and the rest of the moments that you see with Tobias and Alma together were actually really genuine. It seemed like they were really genuine, funny, goofy scenes. Like the second sex scene we see, I forgot how this went. I believe that Tobias visited her restaurant, reminds her that he is now a single person, and it just flashes straight to them having the silliest, goofiest sex scene I've ever seen. Like it was really funny. Like I think what helped with this was how Andrew Garfield was, because Florence just looked like she was in the zone. Tobias or Andrew just looked like he was, well, you could tell he was nervous, and then him admitting that to Almut was just funny, in my opinion, because it was like, oh, like this is his character. I'm guessing he's shy. I'm guessing he's, well, goofy at the same time because the way he was, and she was almost that way too. And I thought it was like a genuine like moment. It didn't seem like it was just a waste of time to see, two naked people. I feel like they were genuinely trying to show how these, like, it was, I feel like it helped show us what their characters are like. Like, I feel like it helped explain. Because, once again, this movie, it was different times. Like, it wasn't a straight timeline. It was showing you different types of stories. Like, it was almost like short stories. But I feel like that helped big time to show us what their characters are like. Like, what are their differences? What are their similarities? And I just really appreciated that. Through the rest of the movie, we're seeing them give their ups and downs, their good moments and their bad moments. But there was one moment that I forgot to put on my list that I really liked. So there was one scene where Tobias visits her apartment, or they wake up, they have a day together after they had a one night stand. And I believe this is right after they had the silly, goofy sex scene as well. And, they're just walking around. Like, I think that before he was trying to leave because I guess he thought that she would want him out. But then she said something nice. She was like, well, I mean, where do you need to go? And he said, I guess nowhere. And they're like, well, then let's just hang. So they hung out for the day. They spent the whole day together, relaxing. They get back to the apartment. She's cooking something, and she teaches him how to break an egg properly in her definition. I don't know. I am not a professional chef, so I can't comment on that. But I just liked how when she showed him this scene, it was almost like an important scene later, because then he used what she taught him to show their daughter how to break eggs. And I thought that was a really sweet scene because it showed it was an important moment. And I feel like him showing their daughter was even more important and just made the story even nicer. But I appreciate that. And I liked it. I'm honestly going to say it was probably the most important scene in the movie. Well, the second most important scene in the movie. Actually, no. Every scene that involved all three of them together with their daughter was probably the most important scene in the movie. But I don't know. I just really liked it. One of my next likes that I wanted to talk about was, I honestly feel like I just saw the funniest giving birth scene, in my opinion, of all time. So let me break down this scene for you. So we're at a moment in the story where Almut's character is pregnant, and she is due any time to give birth. And so one night they get in the car and they are about to go to the hospital. They get stuck in traffic, and she really, really, really needs something to eat. So she goes, or while they're stuck in traffic, Tobias looks away for a second, is trying to figure out how long it's going to take them to get to the hospital. And this is some bad traffic. I didn't know England was like that. But then he gets back to the car, she's gone, and he's looking around. He sees her walking up the street, and you could tell she's in so much pain. Like it's just incredible. And he helps her to the gas station to get whatever type of food she wants. And it's just funny seeing her reaction to everything because she's just looking around, and he's like, oh shoot, we got to get back to the car. Like, I don't even know if they locked that thing, but imagine they're just in there and all of a sudden the traffic starts moving. You know, the anxiety I probably would have gotten. Anyways, she's grabbing stuff. He's trying to help her as fast as possible. Right when she chooses everything, he takes it up to the front, and once again, she's gone. And you're wondering, what the heck happened? Where is she? You find out she's in the bathroom, and at first you're like, okay, we'll get the door open, this and that. She couldn't get up, and you're thinking, oh, she's about to have the baby. So he goes back. He's like, do you have a key? And the I want to give a shout out to the people working at this gas station. That was honestly really cool of them, and they had so much patience. I just love those people. So they try to help him get the door open with a key. The key breaks. Yeah, the key breaks. So then he's stressing. He's like, oh shoot, how do I get it open? And he starts kicking on the door. He starts like trying to break it open. And then another person is on the scene, or another coworker of this gas station. He tells her what's going on. She comes over, and you're thinking she's going to do something smart, like try to figure out a smart way to open up the door. Instead, she starts kicking it down too, and they all just start exchanging. Like, it was just funny. Like, you should have heard everybody in the theater. And yes, I was in the packed theater. I was shook. I was shook that I was in a packed theater. But everybody was laughing their heads off when they were doing this. And then finally they get the door down, and they're like, oh shoot, okay, we're having the baby. Like, let's get ready. So they call 911. They let them know that they're in a gas station. And now they're trying to figure out how to have this baby. And the dialogue in between this was just so funny. Like, I forgot how it went. I can't repeat it to you verbatim, but it was just so funny. Like, that's what made it better. Like, the dialogue between Tobias, Alma, and the people working at the gas station was just incredibly funny. And I really loved that scene. Like, it was just so silly, so goofy, so, I don't really want to say intense because it didn't feel like it was a life or death thing, but I mean, I felt like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen next type of thing. But it was just really cool. Like, and it was funny. It was something, I don't know, the whole movie was funny, but it was just nice to see Andrew, Florence, and the people working at the gas station just being that way. The last like I want to talk about that I had on my list was the ending that happened right after the argument that I was telling you about. Probably could have been edited a little differently. Like, have a little bit more of a deeper meaning. But anyways, they're at this cooking competition, and Almit, she's in the middle of the competition. She won it, or I believe she's about to win. We don't really get the chance to know, I believe, if she won or not, but right after she finishes cooking everything, she goes up to the stands, tells Tobias and Ella, let's go. Because before that scene, she saw an ice skating rink. And I believe she used to be an ice skater, but they leave the competition. They go to the ice skating rink and they just start skating. And it's a cute scene. It's nice. Like, Andrew's trying to figure out how to stick and skate. Ella's just having a good time, like on the ice. And Florence, since she used to be a figure skater, she's just having a good time, this and that. And so the thing that I thought was nice was she starts skating, and you're thinking she's about to do a crazy trick. You're like, oh, is she about, I don't know the names, excuse me, for figure skaters who's listening to this. She's just, seems like she's about to do something crazy. And instead, she goes down on the opposite end of the skating rink, and Tobias and Ella are on the other side of the skating rink, and she's just waving. Tobias and Ella are waving back at her, and then you just start to see her fade a little bit. And I'm just thinking, whoa, is this like the last time we're seeing her? And then after that scene, it just cuts and it shows Tobias and Ella picking eggs. And after that, this is when Tobias is explaining how her mother would break eggs in the proper way. And I just thought that was really nice. I thought that was the cutest way to end the story and to end it off in a nice moment. Now, I wish there was a little bit more. Like I said before, I wish they would have gone into that argument a little bit more and figure out the deeper meaning and see if it was bothering Tobias a little more than what he was letting off. But I really like the ending. I like the way they ended it. I just wish there was more. And that's why I'm probably pushing for the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with these two, because I want to see a little bit more. But I just like that ending. Now, if I were to give this movie a rating from 1 to 10, in my personal opinion, I would give it a 7 out of 10. Now, the way the story was given off, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to be almost like a Memento or a Holes type thing. But I did appreciate how Andrew and Florence showcased their relationship. Like, I think it was really good acting. I like the daughter. I like the characters around them. And I just thought it was a really cute story. And I like that. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And I would suggest it to you all who love romance movies. I think this would be a nice one to watch. And if you all want more reviews on these movies, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow the Film YouTube channel on YouTube and Instagram. But anyways, y'all, that's my review. I'm your man, Film, and I'm going to catch y'all later.